Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new edition of Virtue's Brand of Wrestling right here on the BigVitoBrand.com. And I am being joined by none other than myself, Virtue. Robbie Vice will be back on some shows in the upcoming future, so stay tuned if you're missing some Robbie Vice. And if you want to catch Big Vito and I discuss stuff weekly, we are doing Getting Color again right here on the BigVitoBrand.com. So make sure you check that out. But right now, let me give you a topic. We're going to keep this video kind of short and sweet, 15 to 20 minutes. But I want to talk about the state of the Roman Empire regarding one Roman Reigns, who recently, during the WrestleMania 36 tapings in Orlando, Florida, went home, decided not to get in the ring and compete in his match against Goldberg because of this coronavirus. He did not want to risk and take a chance of getting sick in case anyone did have the illness, especially a carrier that might have it, not be showing any symptoms. He went home. Now, they ended up putting Braun Strowman in his place. Braun Strowman beat Goldberg in less than 5 minutes to become the Universal Champion. What happens now with Roman Reigns? We know he battled leukemia, okay? And he successfully put it in remission. He does not want to be out there and risk getting this coronavirus because it could be nasty for him. It could possibly cause death, like it's been doing for elderly people and people with underlying conditions. He has a family to take care of, a wife and children. He went home. Now, what we know is they allowed him to go home. They were totally on board with this. They understood, and it was okay. And when I say they, I really mean Vince McMahon. But we've heard rumors. We've heard rumors saying all the TV people cannot mention Roman Reigns at all. Nobody in the company can mention Roman Reigns. Well, is this giving him his space and his distance, or is this there is no sick, according to Vince McMahon? Why did you not compete? Now we're going to act like you don't exist. I don't know. Vince McMahon does do things in the Vince McMahon way. Vito called out, and I don't want to give too much away from Getting Color because I want you to all go watch that show with Vito LaGrasso and myself. Vito touches on his point of view and what he thinks is going to happen to Roman, where I might be opposite of Vito. If you want to hear exactly what he says, go check that out on Getting Color. I am going to say when Roman's ready to come back, when this virus has subsided, I don't know if the warm weather is going to get it, whether we need to get a vaccine, but once Roman feels safe to be back on the road and competing, and he's back in the WWE, he will get pushed. Now, will he win the Universal title like I think he was going to do by beating Goldberg at WrestleMania? That I don't know. I don't think he's going to job every match. Now, we can look back at Daniel Bryan for refusing to go to Saudi Arabia last year, and he was the WWE champion, riding high in that heel gimmick, and then all of a sudden Kofi Mania blew up. He put Kofi over at WrestleMania 35, and the next thing you know, Daniel Bryan just really hasn't done much since then. And you almost have to wonder, is that the Vince McMahon syndrome? Did Vince McMahon say, hey, you're not going to compete in Saudi Arabia, we'll just put you in the mid-card and you will lose more matches than you win? I don't know. Daniel Bryan's luster from WrestleMania 30, even WrestleMania 31, when he won the Intercontinental title in the ladder match, it's just not the same after his retirement, and he's been back. Now, I don't know if he just doesn't have that excitement appeal, if the retirement kind of hurt things, but I just think that maybe Daniel Bryan has always been that upper mid-card guy because of his size. He does, I mean, the yes movement was huge, but Roman Reigns gets the hate like he's just absolutely worthless, and from a lot of fans. I was at 2 WrestleManias, and I got to see his line at the Access, and people, he has a huge fan base. Whether it's a lot of kids and women, I don't care. He makes the WWE money. when you put him in the main event, he has solid matches pretty much against all the top guys. He had a hell of a feud against Braun Strowman a couple of years ago. He's had great matches with Bray Wyatt, John Cena, and the list goes on. But people look at the superhero gimmick, the fact that he's pushed by Vince McMahon, and they're just thinking, Roman, you're force fed, we're not going to like you. He is a company guy. Is he drawing Austin numbers? No, nobody is. John Cena couldn't even do that. But when Roman is around and he's pushed as the champion, I always notice the Raws are a little bit higher rated. They may not be what they were back in the day, but I mean, they're not 2 million. They're 2.5 to 3 million. He has a certain appeal, whether it's people tuning in to hate him or his fans that like him. Roman Reigns does help Vince McMahon make money. And I don't think when he comes back, he is going to be buried. Could he maybe lose a title match in a main event or two? Possibly, that maybe he wouldn't have lost before. Like, hey, get back in line because we got to keep things relevant based on who's been here working. Maybe. But I think sooner rather than later, once he's back, Roman will be right up there in the title picture, if not the Universal or WWE champion, because he still has enough mileage left that Vince McMahon is going to squeeze every last drop of main event type money out of Roman that he can. Again, I'm not saying he's doing Rock and Austin numbers, but let's face it, this model of WWE ever since the FCW and NXT is a factory of wrestlers that they don't want to get bigger than the company. So therefore, they're going to get pushed when WWE wants them to get pushed, and whether the fans like it or not. And Roman was in the middle of that, and they were giving him scripted promos. He's a guy that you just go out there and say, I'm going to kick your ass and let him fight and wrestle. He would be way more over if you went out there unscripted since day one. And if you let him do a little bit more than his typical Superman punch and spear. But WWE likes to present their top guys a certain way. John Cena went through that for years and got to 50-50. Boos and cheers. So I think that Roman will be okay. When is he going to come back? I don't know. Because this coronavirus thing, it could go on for 6 months, up to 18 months before they have a vaccine. He may be gone longer than when he was out with leukemia. But I do know this. I think when he comes back, I think that he will get right into a big feud and he'll be relevant again, even despite what we think Vince McMahon does to people that aren't company people and work through sickness and family issues and this and that. I think Roman has made Vince McMahon enough money to get the benefit of the doubt here. And even if they say they're not allowed to mention his name on TV right now, I think it's maybe done not because they're mad at him. I think it's done maybe to make us think they're mad at him. And then when it is time for Roman to come back, there might be an extra feel to it. Maybe this could be good for Roman. Maybe he gets a big pop. Maybe they could finally do Roman against the establishment and people will believe it because of this. If WWE's smart, that's what they would do. Make us think they're going to bury Roman. Make fans get sympathetic and empathetic for Roman. And then when Roman comes back, maybe you can trick a majority of the haters into feeling for Roman and cheering him. Vince McMahon's tried every trick in the book to get Roman super over, and it's still mixed reactions because the wrestling mark haters will never like him. The women and the kids that like the John Cena will continue to like Roman. And certain people that understand the business and sees that Roman busts his ass and works his ass off to do what he does, and the fact that he's had these big profile matches, and for the most part, he's been very, very solid. Sure, was there a couple ugly spots in the Undertaker match at that WrestleMania? Perhaps, but you could also blame Mark Calloway. He's the leader. He's the ring veteran. Maybe he dead weighted. Maybe he can't do things as well as he used to. Is that Roman's fault? But as I sit here and I do this show, I just really think Roman will come back and still be relevant. I think everybody needs to go listen to Vito's take because If that were to happen, and again, I'm not going to spoil what Vito said on Getting Color, I will eat crow and I will be very surprised. Like I said, I think it might be somewhere in the middle. So as soon as Roman does come back, I can see maybe him not get super pushed right away. But like I said, if WWE is smart, they can really get Roman some sympathy here from fans, because you know how fans like to feel for the wrestlers that are affected by Vince McMahon in a negative way. I mean, it's not quite your Austin McMahon thing, but why not? There's an opportunity there. So it's uncertain times, as you keep hearing, and we just don't know when Roman's going to come back, because he has leukemia in remission, and he does not want to take a chance to catch this virus. He doesn't want to bring it home and give it to his kids. I get that, or whatever other family he's seeing. So it's just very interesting that this happened. And they even sacrificed having the Fiend get squashed by Goldberg in Saudi Arabia, which they could have done differently, to get the title on Goldberg, because their ultimate plan was to put the Universal title on Roman at WrestleMania, and that all went sour because of the coronavirus. So they sacrificed Bray. You know what I mean? And now the fact now Bray's back and the Fiend is back in the Universal title picture with Strowman to buy some time. Maybe in a perfect world, Goldberg stays away. The Fiend beats Strowman and becomes the Universal Champion again. And we almost just forget the whole Goldberg thing ever happened. And then when Roman comes back, we get the Roman and the Fiend feud for the Universal title, just like I thought it probably should have been from the beginning. I mean, that's it. That's all we are asking for. Well, that's all I'm asking for in the Roman Empire, the Roman Reigns fans. I mean, I have Twitter followers that love Roman Reigns. Most of them are females, but the fact is they like Roman Reigns, and they get to watch him perform on TV, and he makes them happy, okay? It is what it is. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say Roman Reigns, the Roman Empire, is supposed to be Hulkamania or Austin 316, because John Cena couldn't even get there because of the way the WWE does things now. And even since the Cena era, like I mentioned earlier, it's the NXT FCW era. Okay? No one person will become bigger than the WWE. And heck, at least Roman got to be in Hobbs and Shaw with The Rock. That was pretty interesting. So, you know, it's good to do stuff like that. It's good to also stay home and stay safe. Again, Vince McMahon, we know he holds grudges. We know when you don't make him that bottom dollar, or, you know, he doesn't like sick, he doesn't like people sneezing. That's just what we know from the people that tell us that have worked with Vince. But we don't still know all the nuances and the intricacies of Vince, especially 74-year-old Vince McMahon today. He might be even a little bit more empathetic with stuff like that, and really give Roman Reigns the benefit of the doubt for wanting to go home. Hey, we get it. I understand you. We're behind you. So this whole rumor of announcers and wrestlers, nobody can use Roman Reigns in a promo, that might be for something completely different. That might just be to keep Roman kind of on the back burner so we forget about him for a little bit, and then maybe even think that he does have some heat with the office, because then when he does come back, maybe that's some extra fuel into the Roman getting over fire that really has never happened, because fans are fickle. So very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but we got to beat this coronavirus thing first. This needs to end. We need to get back to some normalcy, and then we can start seeing how these things play out. Sports will open back up, the movie theaters, you know, the economy hopefully will start stirring, and we'll just have to wait it out and see. But I'm behind Roman Reigns for making this decision, as most people are, and I'm going to give Vince McMahon the benefit of the doubt, and we will have to wait to see what happens when Roman does come back and see what type of angle, feud, push he gets those 90 days following. That's going to be interesting. That actually intrigues me, and gives me hope for when all this shit blows over. I can actually see what's going to happen with Roman Reigns, who chose not to perform at the taped WrestleMania at the Performance Center in Orlando this year. So stay tuned, people. I appreciate you listening to this video. I know it's kind of a short and sweet one. Vito and I just decided tonight to start doing Getting Color again. So just a little bit ago, we recorded 45 minutes of that, which you can also check out right here on the BigVitoBrand.com, on Anchor, and on Twitch. But I will be back doing these weekly. Virtue's Brand of Wrestling, and as much as I can get Robbie Vice on to join me, the Virtue and Vice portion of Virtue's Brand of Wrestling will be back indeed. So, Robbie, we will see you soon. You can follow me on Twitter, people, at NoDQ_Virtue. You can go to my Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue. So, for Big Vito, for Noel, for Robbie Vice, I am Virtue. This is the BigVitoBrand.com. I will see you, and maybe Robbie, next time.